Evening all, here we have something a little bit different, not a car but another bicycle. So I picked this up for the princely sum of £10, would you believe? No original fork, I've got a carbon fork with it, but it's a lovely old Graham Way Reynolds 531 frame. Quite light, it's quite modern as steel frames go. It's definitely going to be 90s because it's got the modern dropout spacing on it, so you can get an 10-11 speeds free hub in there. Not in bad nick. I have done a few bits which I didn't film. I've actually painted the whole of the rear triangle here, so I've stripped all of this down sort of up to about here and the bottom brackets. It's not a perfect match, but I tell you what, I mean, you probably can't even notice it on the camera there, and I struggle to see until I look really closely at the bottom bracket. So yeah, really good colour match there. I've just put about 3-4 coats of colour on. So primer, obviously, just use Halford's etch primer, and then I put 3 or 4 coats of this base coat on. Let that dry for 24 hours, and then I've done 3 coats of clear. The plan is to build this up into a single speed for my son who lives up in London. So I've been mucking about with chain ratios and all sorts, trying to work out exactly what I'm going to put on there. It did come with this headset, which is a Stronglight A9, I think it is, not entirely sure. I did press the cups in last night. The battery was dead on the camera, so I didn't bother recording it. I have got a bottom bracket in here. I picked this up from Hackney Cycles in Hackney, in London, along with the crank, which you'll see when I put it in. The bottom bracket's 110mm. It's too small. So I've got the crankset touches the chainstay, so I'm going to take that out. Bought another one from Halford's. So we need to get this bottom bracket out, get this one in. So this is I don't know why Halfords do such weird sizes. This is 117.5 standard BSA, 68mm bottom bracket shell. So we need to get this one out, get that one in. I want to get the cranks in, I'll get the headset done. And then I'm waiting for the single speed conversion kit to turn up. I bought that on Amazon, that should be on its way. Hopefully that'll turn up shortly. I've got a chain, I've got some old wheels off the wife's bike that she doesn't use anymore, and then I'm going to cut up an old pair of handlebars, turn them into bull bars, and see how we go on from there. Okay, so let's get on with it. Smallest bearing race. Onto the race on the top cup. I'm using a lot of grease here, I know. Needle bearings. Cup. Really smooth. Couple of spacers. And then finally, top cap. Yeah, this one is definitely longer, so that is good. Right, so this is non-drive sides. Just going to thread that in. So So that threads in the right way, so righty-tighty to get that started. Let's just make sure I'm putting this the right way around, which I am. And this is reverse threaded, so we've got to screw it anti-clockwise to tighten it. That clearance is much better. I think we're going to be okay. So a little bit of grease. Some threads here. Same on this side. I'm going to make sure we're at 90 degrees, like so. Look at that. Oh yeah. You know what? I'm gonna call that good. Okay, now for my next trick, I am going to try and turn these into bull bars, which is something I've never ever done in my life before, but it doesn't like it'd be too difficult. So essentially, the way this is going to work is, if you can imagine that's the stem on there, then you'll basically have, I'm going to cut these bars here, so we're going to lose the ends of the drops essentially, so they'll be upside down, just where it starts to curve up on here. Cut there, and then you've basically got grips like so, which you can ride about on with a single speed, or at least that's the idea. So I'm going to give it a go and see how we get on. We have bull bars. Hopefully they're big enough. Yeah, I reckon that'll work. I've seen this done a few times. Some people swear by it. Reset this barrel adjuster. So the brakes are proving to be an utter pain in the arse. The Tektros that I bought, lovely brakes, new, but the problem I've got is the drop is too long. So I can't get the calipers up high enough. You can't really see there, but take my word for it. As you can see, I've taken the other caliper off. I've just cut the cable, so there should be enough to thread through the new caliper, or the new used Tiagra. caliper. So let's try and get this on. Got to go from, I've already cut this to size actually, we need to go from in here show you roughly for now, around the bars to there, and then we've got a guide on the frame which is just here. Let me see if I can, okay, so we've got this little cable guide on the frame, and the issue I've got is it's very narrow, so you need a special type of ferrule, basically one of these. There you go, so you can see one end is narrower than the other end, and the narrow end will go in here like so, and the fatter end will go into the other end of the ferrule there. And then it's just bare cable along the top tube here into another cable guide at the other end, which we can't quite see at the moment, but I need another one of these ferrules, which I don't have. I bought a load of them ages ago, but I've used them all, I didn't know, so I've literally got one left. So until that turns up, I can't run the rest of the cable to the back brake. So all I'm going to do now is just run this cable through to here, or run the outer through to here, and then I'll pull the cable through, down through the caliper at the back, and then I just have to wait for the other ferrule to turn up, and then I can finish it off from there. Okay, so now we need to run this cable through this funny little ferrule. I run 3 bike shops to try and get some of these the other day, none of them had any. So I think I got off the Amazon in the end, or eBay, one or the other. Let's just make sure that that's seated. I have to say, I don't think I've ever used one of these for brakes before. For gears, yes, on an old Eddie Merckx Corsa Extra frame, and that just goes through like so, and that going there like that. Hello again. Right, so it's several days later. All of my bits have now turned up, I hope. I've got the stepped ferrules, I've got pretty much everything I need now. These brakes are great, but decided to make another change. Basically, when I tested this, I discovered that the top tube, which I never measured when I picked it up, is unusually long, which means that, I mean, I'm 6 foot tall and I felt quite stretched on it on the drops. So I've taken the decision, because it's my son and he's slightly shorter than me and he's not used to drops, so I've taken the decision to, I'm gonna get rid of these completely. And what I'm gonna do is put these rather fetching black sort of cruiser style bars on instead. They will have him sitting up a little bit higher, and I think it'll be a lot more comfortable, and they'll, yeah, I mean, basically they're going to go there rather than him reaching all the way forward. So I think that'll be a lot better for him, because it's just for getting around London anyway. So I picked up some really cheap 2-finger brakes off Amazon. They were a tenner, I think, something like that. So I've just got to reroute all these cables. I'm going to have to redo the cables basically, and get this on. Okay, so that's it, all done. I'm pretty pleased with the results, turned out well. The eagle-eyed amongst you will notice that the wheels are now mismatched. So I had another problem. Basically, the front wheel, the brake tracks on the front wheel had a small dent in it. I think I must have knocked it in the garage, or possibly using a tyre lever damaged it somehow. But anyway, it rendered the front brake almost impossible to use. It was juddering every time the wheel rotated around the dent in the rim wall. Fortunately, my neighbour had a pair of old Bontrager's that he wasn't using in his garage, so I've pinched those. He very kindly gifted them to me, so whacked one of those on, and all works well. So yeah, good result. Looks pretty tidy. Got to get it up to my son now. Cost wise, crank was 20 quid, bottom bracket tenner, chain tenner, brake calipers 20 quid second hand off eBay. They're good, those Tiagra calipers. The brake levers were a tenner. The frame cost me a tenner. So it's an 80 quid build. The rest of the stuff I had knocking about in the garage, the pedals, the saddle, the dodgy shock post that you can see on their seat post, and the dodgy handlebars that I put on there, and all the cables, etc. That was all in the garage already, which was handy. So yeah, all done, and need to think about what I'm going to be doing next as a project. But thank you very much for watching. It's much appreciated, and I'll see you in the next video.